Well, hey, you, and welcome back to another episode of the Western Hippie Podcast. I'm your host, Michaela. I'm here with my co host, Willie. And today I wanted to talk about the mindfuck of sexual assault that I feel like nobody else is talking about. And because when I've talked to other people who have experienced sexual assault, and even, through the medical system, we'll talk about the body violation. And of course, that is hard and has its own stack of problems. But for me, by far the hardest alligator to wrestle has been the mindset piece of it. And again, every experience is different. The person that assaulted me was very much into the mind games. And so I'm well aware that that could be why it's so hard for me. But at the end of the day, and this is something that gets overlooked a lot, there's this assumption that most sexual assaults are by strangers. And the truth is, most sexual assaults are done by, and I don't remember the actual statistics, but they're done by people that are close to us because it's actually safer for the predator to target someone they know than target someone they don't know. Because when children know somebody, they're less likely to tell on them than they are a stranger because there's a bond there, because there's a connection there. And that's where this mindfuck really comes in, is because the predator is using very biological human things to exploit the child and to get what they want. So they're using connection, they're using trust, they're using threats or whatever it is. And then the child, and I'm speaking specifically for myself, however, I know this is true for other people, but I'm going to do my best to speak for just myself today, gets stuck in the prison of their own mind, because it's not just their own mind too. When I really go into it for myself, it's also like this level of loneliness, because now you're stuck with this jungle gym of concepts. Like for me, this guy like connecting to me as if he was in a relationship, because the more I would feel love for him, the less likely I am to tell. So like he's using my like loyalty and then also my feelings to develop this relationship with him. But then obviously the sexual assaults are happening, and then I'm like, I hate this, but I'm confused. But he acts like he never said he loved me, but he would do like these acts of love that would make it appear like he loved me. And then also the how do I say it? Like for me, it was like the repetition, like he groomed children like he trained horses. And so it was doing the same thing every single day. And so then also and that's a habit, right? So then also getting this habit of doing the same things every day, and then him using those habits again for his own benefit of, okay, now this child is trained to do X, Y, and Z, so I can do, yeah. And the more I say it out loud, I'm like, God, this guy really was pretty messed up. Because when you're in it, and then again, he's like, the way he's acting is like he's not dangerous. Like, okay, yeah, obviously the sexual assault piece of it, he's a dangerous man, but the other things he would do around it would not act like a dangerous person. And so then like that's even more confusing for me. And so all of that, and there was so much more in between, has created this like knot in my brain, and untangling that knot has been extremely difficult. And I'm not going to sit here and act as if I've gotten some of it, but it's been hard. And that's why I want to talk about it today, because I think with things that are really hard to talk about in our culture, I think there's always this elephant in the room that everyone sees and that nobody is talking about. And to me, this is it. It is the mindfuck of sexual assault. That is the elephant in the room that no one's talking about, because I think it's really hard to say that someone fucking with my brain was a lot harder than them fucking with my body. And I had to start saying it to myself, because not saying it was not helping me get to the problem. I really believe, and I believe this because I've seen it to be true time and time again, that the truth is the only thing that'll set us free. So even when I have to say the controversial thing, or even when I have to say the thing that nobody else wants to say, I will close my eyes and just remind myself, Michaela, it's the truth that'll set you free, and not just you, but so many other people. And that's why it has to be said. Not because, like, if there's backlash or there's not backlash, it's because, like, I want to be more free and I want other people to be more free too. And that starts with us admitting the truth. And so for me, the truth has been, it has been a lot harder that someone fucked with my brain than that someone fucked with my body. And even when I look at it from like a high level and like, and as objectively as I can, someone messing with our body is neutral. Because I could have, even at 12, I could have been it sounds so crazy to say, but kids, I feel like, are getting intimate earlier and earlier and earlier. And not that there wouldn't be issues, but potentially like those same things could have been happening. But if I wanted it to happen, or like I was dating somebody and we like agreed to explore this part of life together, even at 12, again, not that there's not things that would have come with it later down, like, okay, I was a little young to be doing that. That kind of messed me up because my body wasn't ready for that. Of course, I'm not sitting here saying there's not going to be any healing that wouldn't need to be done, even if it was consensual. Because of course there is, but there's a potential that it wouldn't have been quite as traumatizing, right? Where when someone fucks with our brain, even if there is no physical aspect of it, there's still a knot being created that has to be untangled, because there's plenty of people that grew up with parents that played mind games with them but never laid a hand on them. And there's still a knot that has to be untangled. And that's what's been so hard for me, is the knot that was created in my brain during that time. And so this last weekend, I got super sick, and I've been doing emotional work long enough now that I know that everything starts with an emotion. So even if we drop something on our foot and our foot breaks, we still had an emotion happen that made us a match for that to happen. It is easier when it comes like with physical ailments. Like, I think it's easier for us to see how it's connected, because any emotion felt and stored long enough will create a physical manifestation in the body. So if I feel angry long enough, that's going to cause liver issues. If I'm suppressing, not feeling supported long enough, it's going to cause back issues. And I think that's easier for us to get on board with. But even in the case of like something, us dropping we're still an emotional and energetic match for that to happen. And again, that starts with the emotions. So I've done enough. I've helped people through emotional work enough now that even when, so for me, it was like, yes, I was sick. And yes, I don't know for sure because I didn't go to the doctor. It felt like my ovary burst, or I had a cyst on my ovary and it burst. It did feel like all of those things. And yet I still know that there's an emotion there. And I still know that if I can get to the root emotion and I can clear the root emotion, the pain should completely go away. I've seen it with clients with sciatic issues, with shoulder issues. And for me, I haven't had physical pain that bad in a really long time, but I was sitting there and was like, okay, if I can, because I was debating actually going into the doctor, and it's a pretty safe rule for Michaela that Michaela doesn't go into the doctor. So for me to be even debating going into the doctor, it ain't good. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, if I can get to, and I'm kind of out of it. I'm in enough pain that I'm very mentally out of it. But I was starting to get my wits, like I was breathing, trying to get my wits about me again. And I was like, okay, if I can get to this emotion, if I can release this emotion and I'm better, I'm not going to go to the doctor. If I can get to this emotion and release the emotion and it does not get any better, I probably need to go to the doctor. So I'm sitting there, and it was bad enough that I was like, instead of doing my protocol, I was just trying to really drop into my body and just like tell my body, like, just show me what's going on, show me what's going on, show me what's going on. And I felt the sensation just rush over my body, and I was like, oh, it's hatred. And the moment that I even just, again, with the truth setting us free, the moment that I even put words to it, the pain went away. Like, 5%. I was 5 to 10%. But at that moment, that felt like a lot. Like that 5 to 10% was enough that I could at least like calm down. Like I felt more calm and like felt like I could get through this a little bit better. So I was like, okay, I feel like that 5 to 10% going away was enough of a confirmation that I got it. But I felt like if you imagine like um where an ovary would sit, and for me it was specifically on my right side, like if you imagine almost like a black golf ball but like made out of steel, so it's really heavy, just sitting almost like a shield around my ovary. When I admitted that it was hatred, it was like this black ball projected a shield throughout my entire body. And specifically, I felt it in my jaw. And so even though I might be experiencing like the trapped emotion, let's say like in my ovary, the way I just felt right there I needed to release it was through my jaw. And so I just was like, I hate him, 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 I hate like, and I had never like let myself fully express how much I hated him and how like, because I was always that person that was like, because that's what was really interesting to me is as I was laying there, I would say like, I don't want to feel this anyway anymore. I want to get rid of this. I want to forgive him. I want to forgive myself. Like the pain would come back 10 times harder if I tried to say that I loved or forgave or I want to love. And it didn't even matter like if I would say like, I want to love like men again, I want, or like, it would just, the pain would shoot and stab. And it felt like there was just knives going through both my ovary, but then also my lower back. And I was like, okay, I have to get fully through this emotion. And to get fully through this emotion, I have to admit everything. Like, and that's what was really hard for me. And I had to remember, like, especially when it comes to a big trauma like this, when we're in fight or flight, subconscious mind is very literal. It doesn't discern like this man's bad, but this man and this man and this man are not, like, it can't discern those two things. It's like men are bad, men are good. Like it's very black and white. And so that was the other thing that was so hard. It wasn't just like that man, it was this like hatred towards all men for like different, like not feeling protected, feeling betrayed, and all of these things that were coming up. And so every time I was even like, because I was jumping the gun, like when it comes to healing these parts of ourselves, we usually want to show those parts of ourselves like things that, because when the subconscious mind, like in this instance, gets like frozen in time, usually this part of ourselves doesn't know the full story. But even when I would go and try to show her like, oh, but I met this man and he was really good, it was like, absolutely not. We are not here to hear it. And I was like, okay. So I just started, and like in this like tension in my jaw, I just started like saying everything I never said. Like, I hate him. Why did he do that to me? How could you do that to somebody? How could you do that to me? How, like, why would this ever happen? Like, what did I do to deserve? Like, victim mentality gets such a bad rap in our culture, but here's the thing we have to understand about victim mentality. It's always a sign that there is a part of us that is unhealed. And so instead of shaming the victim mentality and making us bad for having the victim mentality, we need to start saying, oh, thank you for showing me where I'm not healed. Let's get to the bottom of this. And so for me, all of these feelings was me not expressing how I really felt, me trying to like make it okay when it wasn't okay. And so I had to like just get to a level of honesty with myself that I had not let myself get to when it came to the situation around the sexual assault. And that was that it fucking sucked. Because of it, I fucking hated the bastard. And because of that, I really started to shield and guard myself, not just around him, but with all men, and really had developed, and I hate, like, I really don't like saying this out loud because and this is the difference between conscious mind, subconscious mind, because consciously, I love men. But subconsciously, I'm very much still protecting myself from men. And so when we have the like 5% of the picture, which is conscious minus 5%, speaks in words. So I can say I love men all day long, but subconsciously, if I'm still protecting myself from them because of this hatred, what's the result I'm going to get? Well, subconscious mind takes up 95% of what we experience day to day. Our conscious mind's only in charge of 5%. So the 5%, what's going to win? The 5% that says I love men, or like the 95% that says I hate men and I'm protecting myself from them? Which one's going to win? The 95%. This is not David and Goliath. And And I could feel it too. Like, even though I've tried to get like closer to men, there's always this part of myself that's protecting myself from them. And so I know that if I truly want to experience a relationship where I fully let a man in, because that's what I want, I have to deal with this. And so it became very clear I can't keep trying to like skip a step. I can't keep trying to jump over this thing. I have to fully feel this feeling of hatred and fully understand what it is doing, which is protecting me, which to me is very noble. It is protecting me from experiencing this again. Like, we make these vows of like, this is never going to happen again. And you, like, when we make those things well intended, the problem is we're just using the survival tactic that's closest by, which is really a strong dominant emotion. So for me, it was hatred. And this hatred like would create a shield so that I wouldn't get hurt again. And so now, like, I personally still have to do some more journaling and like really fully get through this emotion. But consciously, I know this hatred is actually creating what I'm trying to avoid. By not letting men in, I am actually getting hurt by them, right? By not letting men like, women are the safest when we allow ourselves to be protected by men. Whether you want to hear that or not, it is the truth. And so I'm actually hurting myself more. And so I consciously know this, right? And so now this is how we fill in the gap. Subconsciously, I feel like it's safest for me to shield and protect myself from men through this hatred. Consciously, I know what I just told you. And so now the question becomes, how do we fill in the gap? And for me, the first step to filling in this gap is first we have to find the need that we're trying to meet. So what is the need I'm trying to meet? I'm trying to meet a feeling of safety. So first I have to start getting that need. I'm not even going to touch the hatred other than thanking it for protecting me, understanding why it was there to protect me, and then also giving it the credit of that was really fucking hard. And I don't blame you for developing this deep, deep hatred. And so that's like the first step of it, right? Is kind of neutralizing it through acceptance and understanding. And then now I told you the need that it's trying to meet is this need for safety. So I'm actually not going to try to get rid of the hatred. I'm just going to start figuring out the other needs that I can get met, or the other ways I can get this need for safety met. And once I can start feeling safe without the hatred's going to naturally go down quite a bit. And then once, for me, I feel the hatred down to like a between 5 and 15% necessary, then I'm going to go in and just clear the emotion. Then I'm going to go in and do the part of where this is the emotional part where I would go back for my inner child. I would go let her express what she needed to express. But what became viscerally clear during this experience I had the other night was that when something is that deep seated, until we get the need met that it is meeting, it's like taking somebody's like favorite thing away from them. Of course they're going to come at you for, or it's something that they need for their survival. Like, of course they're going to come at you for it. Of course they're not going to go down without a fight. And the thing is, when we start creating that fight with our own body, eventually the body's going to win, not because we're weak, not because we don't have the willpower, but because 5% of us is trying to fight with 95% of us. And then we're going to get exhausted. We're going to get back in the same loop. And then we're going to start blaming ourselves. We're going to start beating ourselves up because we're not good enough. We're not strong enough. We're not, whatever the story is, enough. Like, am I even more broken because I can't get through this issue? No, it's because 5% of you is trying to fight with 95% of you. And so the next question becomes, is not how do we fight with this part of us, but how do we work with it? And we both get on board and get on the same team to get the result we want. So first, we need to talk to this part. What do you want? Well, you want to feel safe. Great. I want to feel safe too. You're getting this need met through here. I want to get this need met through here. So how do I get your need met and my need met at the same time? And part of it is stacking up the evidence of that we can actually feel as safe as you want to feel getting this need met through here. And this is like, it's interesting because this is where it is very similar to a trial. Like, you're stacking, it's ironic because I've gone through court trials and they suck, but it is stacking up the evidence to this part of ourselves that it is safe. And then especially for me, you know, I was sexually assaulted twice in my childhood. So obviously I've got like a pretty good stack of evidence as to why in my subconscious brain, I've got a pretty good stack of evidence of like, this is why we should just hate men forever and not trust them again. However, I also have a really good stack of evidence that that is not true. And that, you know, it's really interesting because there was not a single woman on my case. Like when the court stuff happened, like it was a man who defended me in the courtroom. It was a man who interviewed like all the police officers that helped me were men. And I feel like there was another like there's also so many good pieces of evidence as to why like men are good. And so how and like I think what, you know, it's interesting when we talk about, and I remember when I was young, like having this shift because when I went on my first like official date with a guy, there was a situation where a homeless guy like was trying to come up to like my window and he backed up. The guy I was with, he backed up, like went on the other side and started talking to this guy. And like when we drove away, he was like, I thought he was gonna have to get out and kick his ass. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and because again, I have all these preconceived notions in my brain of men. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, did he just try to protect me? And that was enough to like start getting me to question all of these beliefs that I had in my brain of like, oh, men actually want to protect us, right? Because the thing is, like, again, there's good men, there's bad men, there's good women, there's bad women. And so that's a piece of evidence I can show this part of my subconscious is I'm not asking and not doing it with the intention of getting rid of the hatred. Like you can keep your hatred, you can hold on to it. It's okay. I'm not going to ask you to, because this is the goal we're trying to get to in the part of the subconscious brain. We don't want to take the hatred away. We want to get this part to feel safe enough that it gives it up. It surrenders the hatred. And so I'm going to show it like, I'm going to just show this part of my subconscious like, hey, I felt really safe with this guy. Like he barely knew me at that point. We'd only met for like 2.5 hours, maybe 3 with the movie time. And he tried to protect you. Or he not actually, this is a good catch. He didn't try to protect me. He did protect me because that guy was coming up to my window. He backed up, made sure that guy was on his side of the window and that I was on the safe side. So not only he did protect me. Like I think there's a part of my brain, it's interesting saying this out loud. Like there's a part of my brain that's you know, wanting to like, oh, I wasn't really in real danger, blah, blah, blah. Well, he made damn sure of that. He not only checked, he double checked that I was not in danger. He didn't even put me in a position where I could be in danger because he made sure that guy was on his side and not on my side. So, because there was a part of my brain that was like, did he really protect me because I was really in danger? Well, you know what? We don't know, but he made damn sure you weren't. I'm like, and even as I flipped that, like just saying it out loud to you, I'm like, oh, I actually even just feel a little bit better, but like right now, I'm like, okay, that was a time I was protected by men. Okay, good. And just going and second, and again, telling this part of myself that feels the protection. And I will specifically talk to my right ovary because that's where it's living. And I will say, like, again, I'm not asking you to, I just want to show this to you. Do with it what you will. And keep stacking and stacking that up because again, I don't want to take this from her because especially after having that experience of feeling like how visceral this was, I totally understand and have compassion for this part of myself because the reason I wasn't having compassion for this part of myself is because I was not acknowledging how hard that was for me. I was not acknowledging how hard the sexual assault with the horse trainer was for me. And I still have a hard time admitting how hard that was because like for me, it's like, well, I didn't die. Nothing around me died. Like, was it really that bad? And then feeling that like visceral hate, I was like, it was that bad. It did suck. Like, it was bad. And I'm like the only one who wouldn't admit that, right? And so it was hard. And so now that I can have that like acceptance and honesty with myself, that's where we can like start getting some of this stuff done of like moving forward. But when I don't admit it, and this part of myself, it's like, I see with like feet in the concrete of like, I'm not moving because you're not like, this is where feeling unseen comes in. Like, because you're not seeing how hard that was for you. You're not seeing how bad that was. And so until you can admit to yourself how hard and bad that was, I am not moving. And so now that I've given myself like that acknowledgement that I have been looking for in other people, now we're getting somewhere. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now, and just taking it like step by step at a time. And I feel pretty tired. I feel pretty depleted, but like I do feel better. And I feel like I got somewhere because I allowed myself to have that level of honesty with myself. Um, it's interesting because it's like, I think that's a question I'm going to add to my protocol is like, what do we need to be honest about? Like, unapologetically honest about. And for me, it was like, this is how hard that was. So, yeah. I don't know if I thank you for listening. I don't know how, like, I hope that was helpful. Again, I just needed to be honest and start talking about this stuff because when I was, in 2019, I don't know how old I was. I think I was like 24 because I turned 25 in 2020. So yeah, I think I would have been 23 turning 24 because my birthday's in September. So yeah. Yeah. So I would have been 23 in college. So I went back to college in 2019 and got this idea because I think it had been about like 10 years since the sexual assaults had happened. And, or like the case happened or something. And I just like felt this call to like talk about it on social media. So I created 2 photos, or I went and had photos done and I shared 2 photos a week. And then I also shared 2 videos a week, just sharing like what I'd learned over the years, different like snippets of my story and stuff like that. And I called it this project. And anyway, when I got to the end of the project, because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, when I got to the end of this project, because I did it in April, I can't remember if I said that, but I did it in April, got done, and I had built a little bit of a following from it. And I remember telling God, like, don't make me the sexual assault girl. And I've been running from it. And I've been running from it because, like, it's interesting because the thing that we seek is typically found in the thing we're avoiding. And so when I got to that, I was like, I don't want to become the sexual assault girl. So I've been running from it. And I remember like probably a year ago, maybe 6 months to a year ago, I picked up my dog and was like, maybe I should quit running from fate and just start running into it. And I know part of running into it is just fully owning this story and fully healing myself and then helping others do the same because, what is our story for? Like that to me is alchemy, is making, good from the bad. And so like if I avoid this story and I don't make anything good of it, which typically is found in like healing ourselves, seeing what it did, not only the honoring the bad, but also honoring the good of what it did for us, and then helping others do the same. Because like if we don't do that, then what's the point? Right? Like then it was all for nothing. So how do we make something so terrible that seems like it was all for nothing, and how do we make something of that? And that's what I've been avoiding. And that's was really this episode, this first start of it today was like, how do I just be honest about this and start talking about it in more of a honest way? And for me, the honest way is, it's interesting because we sometimes, like for me, I think honesty is saying the truth, but it's also in feeling the truth. And that's, was really my goal here today, was to not just say the truth, but tell you how I feel about the truth. So that's all I got for you today. I just need to get on here and talk. I'm hoping to make these a little bit more structured, but until then, this is step 1. And we also need to celebrate ourselves for just taking step 1. So thank you for being here on my step 1 with me today. Willie is sleeping by my feet. And so him and I are going to go I'm going to make him some lunch. I'm going to make myself some lunch. I've got a website I got to finish up, and that's what we're doing here today. Thank you for being here with me. Yeah, maybe just start there. Ask yourself what you need to be honest, not just about what happened, but how you felt about what happened. And we'll continue with step 2 next week. Just deep gratitude for you being here, and take care of yourselves, and we'll talk next week. Bye. Take care.